Okay, we are live. We are Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. I'm Catherine Greenspan and Elizabeth Ann Atkins, my sister and business partner. We are live every Friday on Facebook at 2:12 p.m. Eastern, interviewing authors. This week we have Master Sergeant Cedric King, an Army Ranger who lost his legs in Afghanistan in 2012 when he stepped on an IED. Now he's a motivational speaker and master athlete, and we have the honor of writing and publishing his book. Welcome, Cedric.
Thank you so much. Hey, with that introduction, I would love to meet this guy. Who in the world are you talking to? Me, right? Good gracious. Who is this guy?
Well,
Good
we've been
gracious.
asking ourselves that question as we wrote your book, because every time we spoke with you, it was like getting a motivational speech. And your story is amazing. Can you tell us why you decided to write a book and what is it called?
I'll be honest with you. I was doing a lot of speeches, and with the speeches, I always had another story to tell. It would be, let me tell you about the time when I jumped in the pool for the first time. Let me tell you about the time I went skydiving. I was telling all these stories. And one of the audience, we did a Q&A, and one of the members of the audience said, "Hey, man, you need to have this in a book. It's just too many stories. It's one story after another one, man. I would love to tell my daughter about that story. She really needs to hear that." So more and more audiences started saying these things, and it was just in the beginning, it was just a way to be able to compile all the stories into one format. It really wasn't even about doing a book. It was like, I need all these stories in one place where I can get them at, and I could research the topics before I go out on stage, and that led to our meeting, and rest is history, you know.
Your story is the ultimate against the odds success story, because you were laying in the hospital at Walter Reed and the doctors told you were looking up at the Olympics and you saw Oscar Pistorius running on his blades, right?
Yeah,
And you asked the doctor if you were able to do that. You couldn't even walk yet, correct?
that's right. That's right.
And they said, no, you can't do that. Well, you proved them wrong by running the Boston Marathon, triathlons. It's really, really remarkable. So, Cedric, can you tell us why you named the book The Making Point?
Well, that's a great question. The biggest thing about the making point that I found, it wasn't the finish line. It was getting to the finish line. And the making point is the process in which you get to the goal. And sometimes it's the moment that you are going from not knowing how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to go, to the point where you're like, I might just be able to do this. It happens when you're learning to ride a bike. It happens when you're learning how to swim. It happens when you're learning how to march in the Army and you don't know how to march, and one day it just clicks. It's that moment that you go from not knowing how to getting a glimpse of knowing how. It's that one moment. That is what I define as the making point.
And
It's
it's a
that
play on
moment
words.
of illumination that you're like, wow, it might be able to happen after all. And that happened for me so many times along this journey. I had to put it all in a book.
Mhm.
And hopefully, let's just say this, hopefully, it's not just for me, it's for every single person that reads this book. It's a moment in time where you're going to go from not knowing how you're going to get in college, or not knowing how you're going to have the marriage work, or not knowing how you're going to learn how to become good at the job, to the moment where you're like, wow, see how it can happen. And that's what I hope everybody gleans from this. The moment where when you tell your children to put the lemonade away in the refrigerator time and time and time and time again, and then there's going to be a moment where you're like, maybe they are going to put the lemonade away for the first time. That's exactly what the making point is. It happens in all of our lives.
So, Cedric, The Making Point, the title is a play on words from the breaking point. So,
Right.
at the point where people think they're going to break, quit, stop, give up, that is the moment that makes you, when you persevere through the pain, as you say so eloquently in the book, how the blessing is in the burden, and
Yes.
God gives us these burdens. Please talk about your faith and how that's fueled you through this extremely difficult challenge.
Number one, you got to know this about Cedric King. I believe I was raised Baptist. I believe God Almighty. I believe in His Son Jesus Christ. But I also believe in how the places in our life that have become so tough to deal with are not burdens. They're not, uppercuts. They're not knockout punches. Those are sparring partners that Almighty God gives us to make us much, much better than we could have been on our own. Sometimes it's the divorce. Sometimes it's the sickness. Sometimes it's even the loss of a loved one. As terrible as that feels, that's the one moment that you have to know has come not to break you, but has come to make you. It's not a defeat. It looks like a defeat. It does. It does. It's the moment where you're all cried out. It's the moment where, you just don't have any more energy left. And along comes that moment where you just say, hey, I only have one way to go, and that's back up again.
So,
I always talk about this. In life, we have these we have these singers that we love, and for so many of us, it's the breaking point that makes the song. It's the breaking point that makes the most beautiful song. We are robbed when people don't allow their pain to become their prosperity. All of us are robbed. All of us are robbed. And we have to allow it to make us better.
So, Cedric, you have a brilliant way of shifting the way we think. And I think everybody who reads your book is going to walk away with a new way of thinking, to look at challenges as learning experiences that can empower them. So can you talk about and give us an example of how you're at your breaking point and you make it your making point by shifting?
I talked about this in every single speech that I give. It's mile 18, the first time I ran Boston. Now, you got to understand this. Boston Marathon 2014 was the year after the bombing. I signed up to do a marathon, and from make a long story short, from the start line 0 all the way to 18 was so extremely tough. But I had a plan. My plan was to run a half mile and to walk a half mile. Run a half mile, walk a half mile. And that was the plan, and it was working great. I would hydrate every other mile. I would take these gels, and I would take these carbs. I had little fiber bars and granola bars. But in mile 18, all of that just stopped working. It just wouldn't work no more. And I said, man, good gracious, my plan that was working went out the window at mile 18. And this is where the making point comes along at. It's when your plan that you thought was working, the thing that you thought was going to take you from here all the way to the end. It's when mom gets sick. It's when grandma passes. It's when they call you into the office and say, hey, listen, we're cutting back. When your plan goes out the window, there is an opportunity for you to elevate yourself. And that was for me, mile 18. Ladies, I'm sitting there with no answers. No answers. I was drinking water. I was dumping ice on my head. It was 74 degrees, but it felt like 1,000,000 degrees. I didn't have my legs were cut up and blistered. It was terrible. And I still had 8 more miles to go. At mile 18, you figure, well, Cedric, you've already done 18 miles. 8 more miles shouldn't be a big deal. But 8 more miles when you've already done 18, it's like going from here to Jupiter. It's forever away. You can't even fathom it. The only answers that I had was this one answer. It was put one foot in front of the other. Like all the other options had just been taken off the table. Hydration plan, ice, nutrients, all that didn't work anymore. The only thing that seemed to work was put one foot in front of the other. Do what you can do, and God will do what you cannot do. And when that really made sense, was at mile 18. And please understand, when I put one foot in front of the other, things didn't get easier for a long time. When I started again at mile 18, putting one foot in front of the other and continuing to do that, it seemed like the course got tougher. It seemed like the course got tougher. And it was almost like the marathon route was saying, it's not going to work. And I kept hearing that in my mind. I kept hearing it in my heart for miles. And then I believe it was almost like a fight between me and the marathon route. And sooner or later, the marathon route said, hey, look, we're going to go pick on somebody else because this dude is either too stupid to quit, or maybe he's just the real thing, but we're going to go pick on somebody else. And that's when things begin to get easier. And things didn't get easier for maybe until like mile 23 with 3 more miles left.
But what did you tell yourself? You're bleeding, you're blistering, what did you say to yourself to keep yourself going?
I had one thought in mind. What can I still do? What do I still have left? All I got left, Cedric, is to put one foot in front of the other. I can't run anymore. I can't crawl. I'm not going to crawl to the finish line, but I got to just do what I can do. And the only punch I got left is put that one foot in front of the other. And for so many people that are listening right now, maybe everything that you got is not working anymore. And maybe that's exactly where life does you a favor. It takes all the other options off the table, you know? It takes all the other options off the table. And the only option you got left is to wake up another day and give it all you got. Hey, maybe the chemo ain't working no more. And the only thing you could do is wake up and give it everything you got. And maybe that's the only option you got, but maybe that's the only option you really need. When things get tough, that's the only thing you really need is to do what you have. For me, that's what it was. It was like, man, I was taking breaks. I was sitting down. People were pouring cold water over me. Nothing was working. The only thing that worked was put one foot in front of the other. And please believe, I was falling down. I would get back up again. I mean, people were trying to high five me while I'm running. And I'm like, dude, I can't. I ain't got that. I ain't got a high five in me no more. I just got, you know how you walk past people and you want to wave, but you just got this. What's up, man? That's all I had. That's all I had. It was just like, what's up? That's all I had at mile 18. And for so many people, mile 18 is you're at your wit's end. That's where I was. I had no more answers. It's a video on my Facebook account that's got mile 18, and the guy that's running with me is like, we're just going to get this thing done. And I was like, bro, I wish it were that easy. It's just not.
So, Cedric, tell us more about where people can see videos and pictures of what you do, and also get in contact with you if they want you to be a motivational speaker at one of their events or conferences.
That's perfect. That's a great question. www.cedricking.us is my website, and we get tons and tons of requests every month, it seems, and we can't take them all, but they're on there. You can go on there and request a date on our calendar. If we got a date and we can make it, we'll make it. I just wanted to make sure everybody understands. I don't want the loss of my legs to be the end of the story, and it's not. It's not. I want my legs that have been lost to be somebody else's blessing. And if it be me coming out and speaking, if it be you reading this book, if it be you just going out onto my Instagram page or my Facebook page and just seeing maybe something that you've seen me do that just, you know, maybe I'm singing a song or, you know, just having a good time. And maybe you say, wow, man, if that dude could have a good time after all that he's lost, it'd be a blessing, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how we feel working with you, Cedric. Every time we spoke with you, interviewing you for the book, can you just talk briefly about why you used ghostwriters and why you chose us to write your book?
Absolutely. I tried to write my own book. Let me first of all, let me say this. I tried to do it. I got stuff that I wrote down that I was like, man, this will sound great, but in retrospect, it didn't sound great at all. And I didn't have the time nor the energy to put in the work to make a great product. I went out and tried to hire a different ghostwriter before I met you guys. And it was just that it didn't sound like me. The guy did not have the ability to capture what I sounded like. And just by chance meeting, I meet you guys, and you guys could be able to hear my voice and hear the story, make it sound like me, but make it sound better than me. And that's a gift. That's a gift. I tell you guys all the time, wow, you guys really brought it home when you can take my voice and make it sound so theatrical and make it sound like I was there. I was there, and I'm reading the way you guys wrote, and I'm like, man, I can see it even better the way you guys are playing, and I was the one at the place. I was the one that was on top of the bomb. And when I read you guys, the way you guys wrote it, like, man, I feel like I'm there. I feel like I was there every single time when I read you guys' your sections of the book. When I read them, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm there. And hopefully the reader will too.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And just as a side note, what Cedric is referencing is that we tell the story of how he was injured in Afghanistan, and it's graphic, it's horrific, but look at him now. It's such a tremendous testimony to internal fortitude and determination, perseverance, faith. Your family values, Cedric, are something that we'd like you to please address briefly, because you have a beautiful wife, Kaida, your two beautiful daughters, your amazing mother, and your extended family that have supported you from birth.
Right.
So you're very blessed with your family. Can you talk about how that helped you recover?
There are three keys for me, I believe, coming back from an injury this horrific. It's faith, family, and focus. The family part of it is definitely something that I didn't pick. I didn't know how important family was going to be, all the way from the moment of birth, all the way up to the moment where I stepped on this IED. But I will tell you this, my cousins, my mom, my wife, my daughters, they all provided almost like a safety basket for me to fall back on when I didn't know how I was going to make it. You have people in your life that love you, that come and visit you, people that drove from North Carolina, people that drove from Philadelphia, people that drove from Charlotte, and people that flew from Atlanta. All over the country, people would come and visit me. And they would remind me, just by them talking to me, hey, this is who you are again. When you lose a part of yourself, you need people that love you enough to love you back to who you were, or maybe even better than who you were. And the only way that you can do that, you have to have people that love you beyond the injury, beyond what you look like, and beyond how bad they feel for you. You have to have people in your life that love you beyond that. And that's telling you some of the things that you might not want to hear. Hey, man, look, this ain't the end of the story for you. Get up. Hey, Cedric, I love you, but look, you're still a father. You're still a husband. Look, you got trash to take out, man. A sister needs some help. You got to cook some food for the girls. It's always something to remind you, hey, listen, it's not about the injury. You're still in there, but I'm going to love you until that guy that's in there comes back out again. And I was lucky to have people that loved me, that didn't look at me and was like, oh, we need to help Cedric. He needs a soft place to hang out, and not everybody talk too loud because he's going through. My family was like, we're going to party, but we're not going to put you off in the corner for you to party by yourself, and we're not going to party over you. We're going to bring you back in the same way that you were before. And it helped me find myself so quickly.
Well, all these amazing stories are in the book, and they're so inspiring. They give me chills still when I hear you tell. And, your family climbed Stone Mountain in Georgia to celebrate your 1-year anniversary of your Alive Day, surviving.
Yeah.
That moment when you were worried about what your daughters would think when they first saw you, and then they crawled up on your wheelchair with you and played.
Yeah.
I mean,
You guys reminded me about stuff I forgot about. I was like, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So Cedric's stories will make you laugh, they'll make you cry, they'll make you shiver with just inspiration, and they'll make you believe in yourself. That's what the gift is that Cedric shares. By telling his story, he makes us all believe in ourselves even more. So Cedric, we're so excited and grateful to have written your book and now to publish it. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about some of the people who are sharing some testimonials?
Yeah, we got some heavy hitters in there. We have our former First Lady has a quote in there, a testimonial. Coach Ron Rivera from the Panthers, Howard Schultz, Gary Sinise. There is Damon Lester, Williams, and those are the people that maybe everybody knows. But we also have my closest family members are going to be friends that I grew up with. A lot of times I saw that books sometimes were told by people that were always on the outside, by public figures, but I never, it's rare that you find books that have testimonials from the people that were right there on the ground, like the lieutenant. Jake Coleman is in there. Jake Coleman was on the ground as I was injured. He saw the whole thing go down, and he has a personal account in the book. My battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Cedric Carrington, is in this book. My mom is in this book. My wife is in this book. My cousin Jennifer was like my sister is in this book. My cousins and my aunts and uncles, my best friend Kelly Austin, they're all in the book. And these are people that can say, hey, look, no, this dude was he was a good dude before, or no, he was a turd burglar before. You have first person accounts from who I was from day one, before the injury and after the injury. They tell you the truth, even if it's an ugly truth. They could tell you the truth, and I think it goes to the point where people can understand. Hey, look, there's some good in humanity still. We see on news articles and we see on news reports every day where we think that, our country is going down, but it's so much good out there. And hopefully you'll be able to read a little bit of it in our book.
Absolutely, Cedric. We are so grateful. Thank you. And we will definitely have you on many more times because
yes. We got, okay, all right. So look, the next time we do this, I got to tell you about the new triathlon that I failed horribly in. And it's so important to let people see the times where I won, but it's even more important to allow people to understand where I didn't win and what not winning can do for you to win.
Okay, so stay tuned. We're going to have you back on. We're going to hear all about the triathlon next time. But for now, we want to thank you. The book's coming out, we anticipate in March, so you'll definitely be back on before then. And we are Two Sisters live on Facebook, writing and publishing every Friday at 2:12 Eastern. Live author interviews. Let's write your book now. Thank you so much, Cedric, for joining us today.
Thank you guys so much. It's an honor and a privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you.